On September 18, 1970, Jimi Hendrix passed away, and his passing garnered notice outside of the music industry. Through their COINTELPRO operation, which monitored prominent black individuals, the FBI maintained a close eye on him. According to the official autopsy, he took 18 times the recommended dosage of Vesperax sleeping pills before dying from barbiturate poisoning via vomit inhalation. The tale didn't add up, though. There were significant discrepancies in the stories of his last hours. Due to insufficient evidence, the coroner recorded an open verdict. FBI papers that were just discovered uncovered deeper mysteries. The narrative of his lover, Monica Danneman, has undergone multiple changes. There were rumors that his boss, Michael Jeffers, had $45,000 in mafia debts and might have received a $2 million life insurance payout. The renowned guitarist's death at the age of 27 is now under scrutiny due to these contradictory reports and the widespread government monitoring. Jimi Hendrix's encounter was the focus of an FBI monitoring program. Long before Jimi Hendrix's unexplained death in 1970, the U.S. government had already designated him as a person of interest. Through a concerted intelligence effort, federal agents were able to monitor one of rock's most powerful individuals. COINTELPRO, the FBI counterintelligence program, maintained extensive information on Hendrix and his activities, as recently declassified documents reveal. The goal of this clandestine effort was to discredit influential black people. The musician participated in a CIA monitoring operation called MHK Chaos and was considered one of America's most subversive people. Leon Muden thus claims that after 9/11, officials viewed his brother as a threat on par with Osama bin Laden. The official cause of death is contradicted by recently declassified records. The official account of Jimi Hendrix's death was called into question by FBI documents that came to light decades after his passing. These records, which were kept secret from the public, provide an alternative account to the coroner's report. In addition, they provide fresh theories regarding the rock legend's final hours. "Doctor, the amount of wine that was over him was just extraordinary," said John Bannister, who was on call and provided treatment for Hendrix. His gut and lungs were bursting with wine, and it was saturated all the way through his shirt and hair. It continued to surge as we continued to suck him out. He had actually consumed so much red wine that he had drowned. However, the official autopsy provides a different account. It detected very little alcohol in his blood and no wine in his stomach or lungs. Additionally, records on the ambulance's arrival time don't add up. At 11:18 a.m., an ambulance is shown leaving in the official log. It's told differently by Eric Burden. He claims that he arrived while the automobiles were still in the morning. This implies that assistance did not arrive for a number of critical hours. Like other cultural personalities they viewed as political risks, the FBI kept Hendrix's files confidential. You could find an excuse to open a file on anyone while J. Edgar Hoover was in charge. They kept a watchful eye on suspected communists and anti-war campaigners. After Hoover's death in 1972, the Bureau underwent significant upheaval. For political reasons, post-Watergate reforms curtailed their ability to conduct investigations. However, due to their engagement in anti-war activism, Hendrix's files were secret under national security regulations, along with those of other musicians they watched, such as John Lennon. The FBI typically handles classified files in this manner. To preserve the Bureau's reputation for its monitoring practices, records pertaining to well-known individuals are frequently kept confidential for decades. Though, in April 1968, Rix performed at Symphony Hall in Newark. When he dedicated a song to King's memory, he brought many people to tears. This positioned him with other well-known black anti-war activists, such as Muhammad Ali, who in 1966 risked everything to oppose the draft. Rix took another audacious action that demonstrated his political development at his height following Woodstock. He chose to announce a benefit event for the United Bloc Association, a modest Harlem youth organization, at Frank's Restaurant on 125th Street. And this decision demonstrated his unwavering commitment to assisting grassroots black community efforts, even when mainstream reporters didn't understand it. Hendrix was a dead man when he foolishly declared that the Black Panthers would invade Washington, according to political scholar Alex Constantine. This demonstrates the danger of his more outspoken opposition to the establishment. By 1970, Hendrix had evolved from a reluctant politician to a person who is fervently dedicated to social justice issues. According to one perspective, Crix was only starting to contribute his voice to the rising dissatisfaction with a racist agenda in the US and elsewhere. His early demise coincided with the height of his political consciousness. The government was concerned that Hendrix would spark widespread opposition. Jimi Hendrix was more than just a musician in the eyes of the FBI and other federal agencies. According to their internal records, they believed he could incite widespread opposition among young Americans. In the late 1960s, his cultural impact expanded beyond music to include politics. Government authorities became more concerned about his ability to mobilize people against the system as a result. According to declassified FBI documents, the government was extremely concerned about Hendrix's potential to spark mass opposition. It was alarming to see from the files that Hendrix was placed alongside America's most dangerous individuals on a government watch list. Later, after 9/11, his brother Leon said that Hendrix was on a list that was on the same level as Osama bin Laden. His classification demonstrates the seriousness with which federal agencies viewed his threat. Stopping influential and inspirational Black people was a primary aim for the FBI COINTELPRO. This initiative demonstrated the government's fear of charismatic individuals who could mobilize large-scale resistance. 9. According to one document, police had backup plans for capturing and detaining individuals they believed posed a threat. The authorities was particularly concerned about Hendrix's ability to unite people of different ethnicities in the early 1970s. By incorporating both white and Black musicians, his band defied social conventions. Throughout the American South, they encountered dangers and were unable to locate lodging. His increasing connections to Black radical organizations like the Black Panthers were of special concern to intelligence services because he had such sway over white audiences. These links would frighten the government, the CIA, or the FBI. Crix's music was more than just entertainment, as officials recognized. It might alter society. According to history, Plato and Confucius thought that inappropriate music used may ruin civilization. Fragada. Because Hendrix could reach millions of young Americans with messages that questioned authority, the government adopted this antiquated perspective and considered his art as a danger to the status quo. Woodstock in 1969 was the height of the government's concern about the power of music. Nelson Rockefeller, the Republican governor of New York, contemplated deploying the National Guard to evict the 300,000 individuals gathered there. This demonstrates the officials' fear of sizable crowds gathered around political music. According to historian Ricky Vincent, the agencies were afraid. In order to bring their people together, all social movements have used the popular music and associated it with the politics of pleasure. Hendrix, an artist whose extraordinary talent could transform individual listening into group political action, was seen by them as having this unifying potential. Before altering their statements, witnesses had enigmatic visits. When ambulance crew members John Sawar and Reg Jones arrived at the Samaran flat, they saw a disturbing situation. He had puke all over him. The cushion was covered in a large amount of it, both brown and black. All the way down, his airway was totally obstructed. According to Jones, the London Ambulance Service verified in 1992 that the deceased was the only person in the flat when they arrived. Over the years, the story became increasingly complicated. Monica Daneman claimed to have done everything in her power to preserve Rix's life when she engaged a private investigator in 1992. Her account conflicted with earlier iterations in which she reported discovering Hendrix unresponsive at various times, starting at 9:30 a.m. until 11:00 a.m. She also provided contradictory statements regarding his survival of the ambulance travel. More questions were added in Eric Burden's account. He initially claimed to have arrived at the hotel room at early light and seen the ambulance depart. He talked of discovering what appeared to be a suicide note with the title The Story of Life. He later claimed to have been there when Hendrix was still there, changing his tale. Why was the police inquiry abruptly stopped? The course of the inquest was unusual. Without hearing testimony from the ambulance crew or the police officers who discovered the scene, Coroner Gavin Thurston issued an open verdict, citing a lack of evidence. The swift conclusion of the probe was advantageous to several parties. According to one report, Mike Jeffrey and Warner Brothers were both extremely relieved by the open verdict. The insurance companies would not have made a payout if the verdict in any way implied suicide, foul play, or that Jimmy's irresponsible actions were a contributing factor in his own death. In 1992 and 1993, Scotland Yards conducted a multi-month investigation in which all interested parties were examined. However, Attorney General Sir Nicholas Lyle declared that the probe would not benefit the public and closed it. The unexplained death of Jimi Hendrix fits a concerning historical trend. Numerous activists and powerful people passed away inexplicably while being observed by government organizations. There are notable parallels between these examples that prompt us to consider potential government intervention. Corello especially targeted black nationalists, according to FBI records. The program's goal was to stop a messiah from emerging who might electrify and unite the militant black nationalist movement. Between 1968 and 1971, numerous Black Panther members were killed as a result of FBI activities. In December 1969, Panther leaders Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were assassinated in a Pred operation approved by the FBI. While Hampton slept, he was shot. The show was not only about observing individuals. According to FBI papers, the Bureau made a concerted effort to discredit, expose, disrupt, misdirect, or otherwise neutralize its targets. Agents coerced witnesses, utilized perjury, and